everyone, it's Elaine for Crafting Desert Divas, and today I'm really excited to show you some of the new products we've got coming in August. Lots of fun goodies. Today's video is going to show the new dies, 2 new dies that we've got going into the shop, and also 2 new stencils, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun creating some really lovely cards or scrapbook layouts or planner layouts with everything that's coming in August. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the first set of dies, and these are the inside scalloped oval dies. I've just got this here just to sort of show you what they look like. So first of all, we've got this large one, and we've got a slightly smaller one, and then this inside one, which is has a stitch design. It doesn't have the scallops. So that's what they look like, and I've also cut them out so you can see what they look like cut out. And so that's the large one. You can see that with some pretty stitching around the outside. And then we've got the medium size. There's the smaller one without the scallops, but still has that pretty stitching detail. And I thought that was quite nice to show you that you get this oval that's cut out, and you can use that for a sentiment or something, or a smaller image. You could stamp something on there. So I will keep hold of that piece. And I've got an A2 size piece of card here. It might be a bit difficult for me to show you using these cut out pieces, so I'll use the dies just to give you an idea of what size they are. And I will include the measurements down in this description box, and I think there will also be a visual on the website when they launch with all the measurements on. So this is an A2 size standard piece of card here, and that's your largest oval. So really good, sort of covers all of the front. You can create a really nice scene with that. I will show you something that I'm working on at the moment using this largest piece. And then this is the medium size one. Here we go. And then you've got your smaller one. So really lovely, and this way you could probably fit 2 of these smaller ones on one card, depending on how you want to use them. At the moment I've only used them sort of this long way, but I'm sure there's lots of fun things you could do with them. So there's all 3 of them together on an A2 size piece of cards. That's 5.5 by 4 1/4, and I'll give you a bit of a closer look. So this is what I'm working on at the moment, just a bit of a sneak peek. I've used quite a few of the new products on this card. So this is the largest oval here, and that creates like a really nice boundary for my scene, so I love that. So I have written the measurements down here. Just get my notes here for you. So the largest of the ovals, when it's from the furthest edge across, is, I think it's 5 1/4 it cuts. And I'm not all that used to working in inches, so you'll have to forgive me. So it's 5 1/4, and across is 4 inches. And then on the inside scalloped area is 4.5 inches by 3 1/4 inches. Okay, so don't have to write these down. I'll have everything down in the description box for you, but just to give you an idea. And then the medium sized oval is, from the widest point, is I believe 4 inches by 3 inches. And on the inside, the scallops cut 3 5/16. Again, please someone correct me if I'm wrong. And 2 3/8. Okay. And then the smallest die, which I have here, is Oh, sorry, did I do the inside? I didn't believe, did I do the inside for this one? Yes, 2 3/8. On this one, we have the widest part is 2 3/4 by 2 inches, and on those the inside piece is 2 5/16 by 1 9/16. So I hope that all makes sense. But to be honest, I kind of always just go by the size of my piece of paper or piece of card or whatever I'm using. Generally it's the 5.5 by 4 1/4, so I kind of use that as my guide most often, but obviously you do whatever works for you. So I think they're lovely and I can't wait to use them more. I love anything kind of framed, really good for doing shaker cards, which is on my list to do with these. And just a great addition to sort of like the inside scalloped shaped family. There's quite a few others in the range, so go check them out if you like these sort of scalloped frame dies. Moving on to the next die in the release, we have this mushroom border die. Now I've cut mine apart because I wanted to have a little play and give you some ideas and just to give you a bit better idea of what they're going to look like when they're coloured up. But it comes as one piece when you will get it, and I've just snipped mine. So I've snipped mine apart. So I will probably keep mine like this because I find it easier not to lose any pieces. And this is one piece anyway. So I have started having a little play with this. So I cut it all in one piece at the time. Let's move these out of the way for a moment. So I find it easier when I want to colour it up to keep it in its negative piece. So I have snipped the end so it comes apart. But then when I actually come to colour it, I do find it easier to keep it all together and ink blend with it all still in place, especially like my little snail here. That's just my tip, which works for me. That may not work for you, but I found it easier to ink blend it, because when I ink blend, sometimes the card, because it's quite thin in places once it's cut, I found that my cardstock will buckle where I'm rubbing. So maybe if you're not as heavy-handed as me, that won't happen to you, but for me I found that that worked the best. Just coloured up here the acorn and the snail, super cute snail. His little house, his little shell on the back comes separate, so I've just ink blended that in a different colour and stuck that on top. I've got my leaf, and you'd get these additional mushroom pieces. So while my kids were watching a film yesterday, I did just colour these up, and I thought I would just stick them down while I'm doing this video. It's just really nice because it gives you some extra dimension for your mushrooms, and these, it's nice because these little sort of the little white dots, I don't know what their name is. Have they got a name? These little white spots on the mushrooms are separate, so you can ink blend those or colour them however you want to. Colour pencils, whatever your favourite colouring medium is. For something like this, generally I would use my distress inks or oxide inks. This is peeled paint. And the tops are festive berries and the spots are antique linen. Yes, this is antique linen and vintage photo, and my tree trunk or my tree stump is vintage photo, but I did just use a Zig clean colour wheel brush marker just to accent those embossed lines that you get. As I somehow I seem to lose those a little bit. I was a little bit heavy-handed with my ink. So, and this one is Wilted Violet, the snail's little house, and just a random grey ink out of my stash. I think it's a Memento grey flannel ink. I don't really have grey distress ink in my stash. So, oh, and the mushroom stalks, I think that's what they're called, are also antique linen. I hope I've got the name of that right. I do get muddled sometimes, so forgive me. I can list them in the description box so you've got an idea. So there we go, there's my mushrooms. And you can colour them any way you want to, with any colours you want. Really versatile. And they're, don't want to knock them, there we go. That's what it looks like. I'll put it on a white piece of card because that might show you better. Against this hot pink, it's probably not ideal. So I have written down the measurements for this. Look at those. You can put your little, there's the leaf, you can put your little snail on the top there perhaps. There we go. Super, super adorable. And this would go with so many of the stamp sets already on the website, or you know, some of the new release, which I'll show you in a separate video. But this mushroom die is approximately 5 1/4 inches long, and from the highest point, I think I measured one of the mushrooms, but it's about 1 1/4 inches down or in height. So really, really lovely, and I can't wait to use that. And I might, you know, I love pink, as you probably know if you've seen my cards, so I'll probably do some pink coloured mushrooms and pink snail, and I did add little cheeks and some eyes onto my snail. But I really love this. I think this is really, really cute, and you could layer some of them up to give them more dimension. Yeah, list of possibilities is endless. So a really lovely addition to the die collection. So I look forward to seeing what everyone else creates with it. So next up in the release we have the stencils. The first one I'm going to show you, hopefully you can see, is the Hill Scene 1, which I shall zoom out a little so you can see it better. Hill Scene 1 stencil. So I have started having a little play with this. So you've got your hill scene here, and then you've got your trees coming in the front and one in the background. Now I did do this fairly quickly the other day, just so I could get some sort of colour onto the paper to show you what it would look like coloured up, but you can obviously spend a lot more time on it, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Really lovely, and you could accent the edge with, you know, I've ink blended this with some vintage photo, and this is peeled paint, but you could probably do some shading or something on the side, make it look really nice. But that's what that one looks like. And also you could flip it round so that you have another hill in the background perhaps, and you could ink blend this bit here, and then you'd have another hill coming out the background. Or if you wanted your trees on this side, you can turn it whichever way you want to. And this is a 6 by 6 inch stencil, so you've got lots of room to manoeuvre it around onto your cardstock depending on what you're creating. So that's how I used mine the other day. So super lovely. Will go great with some of the stamps which are coming up in the release. So that's that one. And I haven't really had a chance to play around with this bit with this. Maybe you could use it like that. It does, this part here does tie in with the second stencil, which I shall show you in a minute, and I shall show you how I've used it. So that's that. That's Hill Scene 1 stencil. Get it out the right way would help. There we go. Lovely. So this is Hill Scene 2 stencil. So lots and lots you can use with this stencil. We've got lots of things to talk about. So I'll start off, maybe a bit better like this. So I'll start off, first of all, we've got some clouds along two sides, and if you like cloudy scenes, this is perfect. And also you can always turn your stencil over, so kind of got 4 different cloud scenes you can create with that. And then you've got your hills you can create, and not necessarily just hills. I did sort of have a go at maybe creating some waves with it as well. got an idea for something for this release with using it with waves, so you know, doesn't always have to be sort of a land scene. I haven't used this for ink blending or anything like that yet, but I have used it as a stencil, and I cut out a piece of cardstock, and I can't remember how I did it now, this was the other day, but I think I used this to help me create my shape for this card. And you can see here I've used this to create my cloud scene, and my card obviously is, I've gone across, and I think I used this and I didn't quite have, was it here, quite have enough room to go all the way across, so all I did is I flipped my stencil over, matched it up, and then carried on going. So super easy, and I love the fact that it's got some, you know, the word definition is the right one for the clouds. So it's like real good peaks and troughs, and they're sort of really round clouds, and I like that look. So that's suits me perfectly. So they're the clouds, and here I've used, for this path, I've used both stencils together. So first of all I got this piece of cardstock here which was plain at the time, and then I ink blended on some brown, I think it was, oh yeah, a very light vintage photo, just very lightly, and I drew onto some masking paper and created myself some masks. So obviously I put that down, and then you can go over the top, get this the right way round, and then over the top of your path, or whatever you want it to be, you can add on this this one sort of look like stones, and this one you can make it look like cobbles. I've gone for stones today, but because these pieces match up together, which is so clever. I've never seen anything like that before. So that's how I've done that. Thank you for joining me today on the Crafting Desert Divas channel. Look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.